Okay. All right, so we will call the meeting to order at 10:07 a.m. Hopefully everybody got the agenda. Apologies for not getting the meeting minutes out. I will get them out and we'll have to do two meeting approvals next time around. Wanted to welcome Phil Miano to the board. This is his first meeting. He just joined in the last couple of weeks. So,
I'm having a real hard time understanding anything with all that background mumble jumble going on.
could
Oh, I
everybody go
don't hear
on?
it anymore.
Yeah, I don't hear it anymore either. Could everybody, I guess,
Anybody else? Is anybody else getting it?
There it is.
Okay, I'm going to go out and come back in.
okay, go ahead. All right, very good. Everybody else good?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, we'll carry on.
Yeah, I'm good. This is Phil. I'm good.
Okay, great. Thanks, Phil. All right, so I want to catch everybody up a little bit. I went and met with Pete the week. Oh, now I hear it again. Could everybody go on
Yeah.
mute? If you're not talking right now, could everybody just go on mute? It's the very weird come and go background noise. Cool, thank you. Um, so I had a conversation with Pete. We kind of talked about how he'd like to see things move forward within the board. So as we are all aware, things have taken a very long time, we'll just say, to get through the cycle from us discussing them and putting them to paper and then getting them, to actual approval, like a very long time. It's a lot of bouncing between boards that maybe is not necessary, et cetera. So Pete has kind of come up with a way that he feels a little bit more comfortable with, and I actually think it's a really good idea, for us, especially because there is so much back and forth. What he'd like us to do is when we start to work on something, or the next something is coming up, right? Air quotes of whatever that is. When the next thing is coming up, we kind of put it together and not, hang on, I gotta let Chris back in. We put it together just kind of in words, right? We don't take law, we don't take the code and kind of alter the code. We just kind of put together what our thoughts are around what it is we're trying to achieve. And then he's got a small committee, a supervisors committee that he's working with that, have some land use experts in there and zoning experts and be able to kind of look at what it is that we're trying to accomplish and then identify the ways in order to accomplish it. And then they'll come back to us with some suggestions or recommendations. This is kind of how we see it going. If we're good with that, then we put it all together, say, okay, let's start the process, right? And the process would be, it goes to the town board, they review it, if necessary, depending on what it is. They would then, refer to the planning board or whatever other board, but probably the planning board. The planning board they get their comments, and then it goes back. So if you recall before, what was happening was a whole lot of, we would have to go back and forth just to change some wording or minor intent changes, clarifying things, etc. So I think this gives us a better, clearer path forward. That's what we're going to try for 407-144, which is the ag animals section that we've just completed. I sent him a copy with draft, clearly, and the date that we had approved it clearly on that document. And in 407-144, the only comment that he really had, he thought the rest of it was good. The only comment he was really had was he was concerned, and I think we went back and forth a lot of time. It's around how many feet close to a residential structure. We had 25, and he said 50 would, probably be something that would be more acceptable to everybody. I don't disagree. I thought
50,
25 was a little aggressive. So I
50
guess
feet from where?
50 feet from the, hang on one second, I just printed it. One moment, please. It reads, oh, come on, here it is. The barn or other animal housing structure, grazing and feeding area shall not be located closer than, it said 25, changed to 50 feet to any residential structure on an adjacent lot and shall meet the principal building setbacks. So it's the, it's the
So it's
same
from
as
the
what-
neighbors, not from your own personal building.
Correct.
Okay. Because 50 feet from a personal building, it's a hike for some people for a couple chickens or a barn or a chicken
Oh,
coop.
agree. Yeah, no, not your property, the adjacent property.
Okay.
Yes.
Agreeable.
Okay, so I guess everybody's thoughts on that. Does anybody have any feedback or need clarification? That was the only change that he asked for. And then
Yeah,
what we'll
I-
do is we'll submit.
I think that's an acceptable change because it's not 50 feet from the property line, it's 50 feet from that, adjoining structure. So
Right.
that's good, that's fine.
Okay. All right. Okay, I don't think we need to vote on that because I think it's a pretty small change. So if we're all in agreement, we'll just carry on. So what we'll do then is I'll send that over. I made the change in the document already. Now that you've approved it, I'll clear the red lines. I'll send that over. I'll alter the date. So we have the most recent date that, we changed it, and send that over to Pete, and let him run it through his committee, his supervisor's committee.
So I guess I need you to clarify.
Sure.
So in the past, what we've done is you've had me take the law and we've gone in, whether it's on a PDF of the law or, Word document, or we've done red line, adding things. So he's saying, don't do that anymore.
It's going to depend on what it is. So for example, the next thing that we have up on the list to talk about is 142, right? 142. Hang on. 407. Yeah, 407, 142, which is the accessory use. So in that document, what we did was we have the new law, right? The pages 1 through 3 is the new law.
Yep.
Page 4 is the old law, where all of the ag stuff was in there. And we're just kind of pointing to them. These are the places it needs to go back into, right? So I think in that case, it's perfectly fine to have it all written out like that. I think what his point was don't go crazy trying to figure out 25 feet, 50 feet, 100 feet, whatever it is. Let the kind of the land use and the zoning people who are on his committee bounce that around and provide recommendations to us.
Okay. Yeah, I was a little confused because I wasn't sure if he just wanted some kind of written narrative that says we're looking at this law and here's what we're thinking with respect to how it should be changed to be more reasonable and agricultural friendly. So
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And I guess there may be cases where we have to do that.
Yes, I think there are. Yeah. Okay, so all right, so moving on from that, I did just talk about the accessory use, so that was the next thing on the agenda. That's 407, 142. And in that, basically, we're just asking, we didn't have any other substantial or intentional changes to the law that was just recently passed in 2022, the local law. On accessory uses, basically, we're just asking for those sections in red that we put on that document that include agriculture to go back into the appropriate place in the new law. So is everybody clear on that, or do you want me to share my screen and show you what I'm talking about?
Share your screen. I think you're talking about the Word document that we did with the alphabetic lettering.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay, hang on. Never shared my screen in Zoom, so give me a moment.
Yeah, we just added a lot of, with the exception of agricultural uses or buildings. Yeah.
Right. How do I get rid of this?
Yeah, that's the one I have. Okay.
Yeah. So, this is, and Jen, I think you had mentioned this before to make sure we had the most current one. So I just looked on eCode 360, and this is the one that was just passed. So
Right.
basically, pages 1 through 3 here, and we just have like kind of notes as to,
Yes.
what our thoughts were, so we don't need to worry about that. But then this is the old code, and then basically the comments in the left-hand column are indicating like what the changes were, you know, in the new law. And then in red here, we've got, you can see this, we've got it highlighted that basically, you know, you need to add the exception of agriculture use and structures back in.
Right. And then we added, if you go down, we added F entirely.
Right. Yes.
Yeah. And that's, I think that's important because it references the building code.
Right. Yeah.
You know, doesn't require a building permit.
Yep. Yep.
Okay, good.
So I'm just gonna, I'm not even gonna fiddle with this anymore. I'm just gonna kind of put a cover letter to on top of this and explain kind of the differences between pages 1 through 3 and 4. And hopefully that'll be clear enough. So okay, so that will get us closer to getting 2 things in front of them, which is awesome. Our next step, and I didn't even have really a chance to review this, so let me share my screen, is 407 Article 5, R1A. So let me share my screen again because I don't recall where we were with this, honestly. Oh, goodness. Yeah, I'm struggling to find. Oh, where in the world is it? Sorry, guys, hang on. Oh, I know where it's at. It's still in a browser. Yikes. There it is. Okay, I'm hoping this is gonna work. Can you see this?
Yep.
Yeah.
Beautiful. Okay. So this is what I just pulled this from, you know, Ecode 360. So
okay, you know that we had, and unfortunately I'm not at my computer. For some reason Spectrum was wonky today and I was having a hard time with internet service. So I'm doing this meeting on my iPad. But we had already, I mean, I have a version of this where we've made substantial suggested changes to it. We had,
and I looked for that and I couldn't find it. So shame on me.
I'll break away for a minute. I'll go and see if I can email it to you through my desktop there. So I'll be right back.
Okay.
And then you can put it on your screen.
Okay, awesome. I don't know why I can't stop this. There we go. Jeez.
So does everybody have their Easter eggs colored, ready for the weekend?
Sure.
You got a lot to color, Tommy. How many? 100 dozen, 200 dozen? Can I come down and get rainbow eggs?
Whatever you want. No problem. I'll trade you carrots for eggs.
Well, they're going in the ground, but they're going to be ready for a while.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can't wait. Them people love your carrots.
Me too.
But
I can't wait.
we got lettuce.
Yeah, this is lettuce season now. Greens,
Oh,
greens and more greens.
well, that sun, it's cranking up the lettuce, so it's working good. Except on the 8th, that we get 4 hours of no sun.
Yeah,
And,
then everything's going to wilt.
No son of a gun party in my
Yeah.
backyard. Or as Justin says, have you got your yurts ready for the totality?
Yeah, your yurts and mine.
Got them all set up. Sure. I love it. Oh well.
I guess while we're
Everybody,
waiting, let me fill in something that wasn't on the agenda because it just kind of came up. And those of you that were on the call before we started was probably heard bits and pieces of this. Someone reached out to me regarding the Rotary Club is looking to do a community garden. They're in the very beginning stages of planning, but I'm going to be meeting with them on April 6th. And I guess I just wanted everybody on this board to be aware in case you have any interest in joining me to answer questions. I'm not quite sure what my role is in terms of answering questions for them, but I'll be there. So anybody feels the need, you can, I guess, join me. I think one of the things that, and I was actually going to look it up and see where it was in our planning guide, in our resource guide, for, the farmland protection plan, but community gardens were part of that. Like it was kind of part of the whole agriculture. So I know they're looking for some property to be able to do this.
are they going to get a donated property, or are they going to,
They're looking, I believe they're looking for donated property, yes.
oh, that'd be fun on Grand Island. We got no room for nothing right now.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
now we have a bridge catastrophe, right? That we have to deal with. Everybody else has got a problem. So, yeah.
yeah, I know. I mean, truly, I don't know how that's going to affect supply chain for agricultural stuff.
Guess
I'm
there's a lot
moving
of
the
farm equipment that goes through there,
Mm-hmm.
heavy equipment.
Yep.
We can't not have anything heavy on Grand Island, I think. We'll all be in trouble.
So this whole community garden thing, it's a nice idea if we can if people want to get involved and do something with it. But a couple of them that they've tried in the past, they seem to start off with gangbusters, they get the dirt turned over, and that's pretty much the end of it.
Yeah. That's, I was explaining when I was talking to the person who reached out to me that, we have had community gardens and they have failed. And primarily one of the reasons that they failed in the past is they've just not been a good location. There is no water. Like
Well,
nobody's dragging buckets of
nope.
water 3 times a day in
Right.
August,
I
right?
wonder
Like
I wonder if the town will put in a nice special meter for the use of that.
Yeah, there you go. Only need
Weren't we
3,000
talking
million
about this one
gallons.
time where we could get special meters for watering gardens for like what,
you
fifteen
still can.
thousand dollars and
Yeah.
100 million gallons a year?
Yeah, you still can get that special use water.
Yeah.
You just need to have 300,000 gallons every quarter, I believe. So
Yeah.
Some crazy
Yeah.
ass.
That was the minimum, 300,000 gallons, and you had to have your meter inspected every year. That costs $1,000, I guess,
correct.
or something stupid like
Cost
that.
of the meter, they wanted like crazy money just to put the meter in.
Yep. Do you realize now that when you're in a sewer district, that your water's costing you $9.05 1,000 gallons, and that's the highest in Erie County? Yeah.
Is it the high? Yeah, it probably is because we have our own water plant.
Yeah, that's the highest in Erie County. So I
Wow,
guess I don't know what to tell you, but you know,
crazy. Yeah,
well, that's why people pump out of
I hope
ponds
their
and creeks
community
and whatever.
garden isn't in a sewer district.
yeah, right.
Hey, they can have it on the strip of the West River Parkway.
Well, I think a lot of people have this romancing idea of, oh, won't this be fun? And don't really realize the amount of work, dedication, and
Yep.
constant,
So
time it takes.
you've got it 1,000%, Jen, right? That was basically what I was trying to say is, when you start having these meetings, first of all, people can't lift the world.
Yeah.
She, Tom and Chris and I can attest to this. No matter how bad you want it, no matter how bad the community wants it, if you
Mhm.
don't have workers and doers,
Yeah.
it's not even going to get off the ground. And there are probably about a million different questions and ways to move forward with a community garden. But honestly, location is key. Like if you don't have a water source,
Right.
people will do it for a month and then they're going to walk away. Everything's
Yeah.
going to get
Well,
crispy and
don't even think about the rest of it. Somebody doesn't want their veggies sprayed. Somebody else wants to
well,
spray them. Somebody
that's it,
wants to
right? You
weed
have
them.
to come up with a list
Yeah.
of rules. And
Where's the
and
bees
who
coming
takes care
from?
of the
Yeah.
community stuff, right? Because you got to have
Oh yeah.
paths and I
Yeah.
said you're going to have parking, like water and parking are the key kind of in order to pick your
They're
location.
going to need some sort of security too. Somebody's got to keep an eye on it because come harvest time, everybody's going to help themselves to who
Yeah.
knows what. Yeah.
I mean, I'm all
Listen,
kudos for somebody trying and
Oh,
whatnot.
absolutely.
But the reality, you have to have a real big reality check at the start to realize, this isn't a simple thing by any means. The dedication to it is,
Yep. Yeah.
well, that's
I said the same thing,
better
Jen.
be.
I hope it works. I hope they get it off the ground, but it's a huge lift. This is not just a simple, let's have a garden kind of thing. This
turn
is
some dirt over and go to Home Depot.
Yep.
I'm
Not to
sure they're
mention the
aware of this.
investment.
I'm not trying to
No, no.
denigrate, like I know they're in the very beginning stages, so
Yeah.
I'm sure they're learning all of this as, they're trying to figure it out.
But I think they used to do the Christmas trees at Kelly's Country Store
Are
too.
they?
Mm.
The Rotary, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Or the
Yeah.
Lions. Wasn't that the Lions that did that?
Did we lose
Maybe.
Wendy forever? Like,
Hey, this
Yeah, it
is
looks
Phil.
like it.
Are they looking for private land or public land for that?
I
Anyway.
honestly don't know, Phil. I just know they're looking for land, so.
I mean, Town Hall has land.
All over.
Yeah, I don't know that I did bring this to Pete. So I already did notify Pete about this and just said, like, just so that we can guide them in terms of picking land, would the town allow it if it was property on Grand Island Boulevard? Because it's something that Pete and I talked about yesterday that I just wanted to be clear. So I did talk to him about it and I don't think they have a problem. So I'm not sure that they're going to offer up Town Hall.
Yeah.
Okay, Wendy, we got you.
Yes, I just emailed you the latest version of our work on R1A, which version 5. It was done played with in August of 22 because we got sidetracked with so many other things. Then I also sent you versions of the R1B and R1E that we had proposed final changes to. R1E, I think, was removing it, removing ag uses from R1E, and I can't remember what we did to R1B, but either way, I sent you those as well, those two files. So you should be getting them.
Looking right now, nothing yet.
Well, like I said, my internet was slow, but the email did go through.
Okay. I'll just keep refreshing.
We had suggested a number of changes, and we played with the statement of intent. We even changed the name of the zoning classification, to reference. I think it was ag and residential and agriculture or something. I can't.
Yeah.
Remember exactly, but we've been playing with it for a while. And when we're all done with suggesting various changes, and should the town board agree to adopt certain of those changes, at some point, a review of the zoning ordinance is going to be needed to catch places in other zoning classifications where something is referenced, like ag animals or whatever, that got changed. So I don't know if code publishers, if the town uses code publishers for their stuff, if they automatically do that, or if, you know, we need to do that, but it is going to have to be done.
Okay. Oh my goodness, it's still not here, Wendy.
Ugh. All right.
Probably going via California, probably taking the long way there.
Yes. Or the Russians got it and they're playing
There
with
you
it.
go.
Yes.
I think Spectrum has been horrible lately, so on my end,
But,
I'm
yeah.
feeling a nightmare.
And unfortunately, that is our only option for cable here.
Yeah,
Verizon will never come here
no,
because
definitely.
the houses are too far apart and it'll cost them too much money to lay the cable, so they won't do it. So we'll never see it.
We have EerieNet coming here. Should be a big change in all that, but yeah.
Yeah.
That'll be good. Still didn't
Who's
get
coming?
it.
Who's
EerieNet,
coming?
EerieNet. It's
EerieNet?
yeah, state county program, and they're gonna put all new I'm not a tech savvy person at all, but wiring all the way down Grand Island Boulevard, and it'll go out to all the schools and everything. So it'll be basically the center chain to build out of. So we'll be able to get some competitors on the island, and Monopoly will be gone.
I'm
Good
going to
deal.
try logging in on my desktop and see if I can get into this meeting. And if so, then I can share. I'll bring the document up and I can share my screen. So
Okay,
I'm going to
yeah, still not here.
I'm going to leave the meeting for right now.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Sorry, we're having a lot of technical issues today.
It happens.
Well, it seems like everything everywhere that's connected to a computer is glitching in one way or another. And it's not major, but it's all these little things
Today, you mean?
every day.
Oh.
You know, it just seems like, you know, I go into to a store or to a supplier to buy something, and they're like, computer is slow today, or computer went down, and I can't get this, and I can't get into my computer, and people are constantly changing programs, and then other people are getting held hostage, and it's like, come on.
Yeah.
We rely so much on it, and it seems like it's so fragile,
I only want to know one thing. Did you update your password?
Yeah. Yeah.
And where did you put that one?
Well,
Yeah.
you want to shut down America.
Yeah.
You don't need it the old-fashioned way.
No. Don't get out a pencil and a pen. It's too much trouble.
Yep. Yep.
Or a pen, a pencil, a pen, and a rock and a little scribe.
But I still, it is fragile as it is. I can't even imagine going back to the old paper file systems with all the color-coded tabs. You go into an office, any kind of doctor's office, and everything's boom, boom, boom on the screen. Can you imagine going back and having to go into the back room and pull a file and
Right.
bring it out and update it and make sure it all gets put back? And oh my gosh.
Probably need an extra person.
Gone.
Okay, now let me go back into Zoom. So if you let me share my screen.
Oh, I don't know how to do that.
Uh-oh.
Oh, here we go. Wait. Who can share? All participants. All participants. Okay. Do you see it now?
I don't know. I just brought
There
it
you
up.
go.
Can you see it?
Yep, it's coming. There it is.
Beautiful.
Okay, cool.
Oh gosh, now I do remember doing this. Oh my
Yes,
goodness,
remember
was
this?
a long time ago.
Yeah, I mean, this was,
Oh wow, 2 years ago.
yeah, I mean, we last did this, we last worked on this in August of 22.
21.
No, 20, that's just when that particular change was made.
Oh, gotcha.
That should have been changed
okay.
to August because this file is dated August of 22, which means we
Okay.
must have fooled around with it a little bit, but you know, as you can see, we added agriculture to the title,
Right.
since it isn't just about single family residences, especially, you know, this particular zoning category.
Yeah.
And then we tried to make the intent more ag friendly. And then we started looking at, and we changed this, you know, we started using the word practices back when we
Yeah.
were revising the right to farm law. So it was about trying to make this, you know, adding consistency between. So then we referenced the farm law.
Yeah.
And then just we had played here this, you know, we did add this because the town then adopted the chicken law. This, of course, is subject to and then we added this piece about accessory structures, and that they don't, you know, that they're all allowed by right. Roadside farm stands got put in there because we
Yeah,
worked on that.
we've got to get rid of that one because that's gone now. We never did that, never got passed. So,
No way.
oh yeah, don't you remember? They
No,
finally, the town board finally came back and said, just, you know, our recommendation is if it ain't broke, don't fix it. We don't have any issues with it now. This will
Then
start
then why
causing,
did we end up doing that whole exercise? Who
oh,
raised
I
it?
know. It
I don't
was
remember
so much
raising.
time.
Ay, ay, ay.
I know.
Okay. Well, that'll have to change then.
Yeah.
We added, you know, other things, farm ponds, equestrian exercise tracks and rings. These were right. We added solar because the town had adopted that.
Yep.
And then, of course, you know, one of the things down the road, we're going to have to go through all the definitions and update the definition section in the code.
Yep.
Okay. So this is where we were. We took this out, you know, because that these are special permits, and
Right.
you know, here it said that you had to have a special use permit for sheds, barns, silos, you know, yada yada, and that's.
Oh, well, wait, go back to that one because that says without requisite construction of a principal use, and that is still in fact the truth.
But come on, we went through that whole thing with Ron Milks.
They will.
I have his email where
I
he
know.
agreed
Pete-
if it's an
Pete
R1A or R1B that you don't have to have a principal use. But if it was in C or D, then they'd have to work through the code enforcement office.
I just had a
Abided by
conversation.
that?
I just had a conversation with them, you know, a week and a half ago, and it was quite clear that principal use. Now, what Pete said is he's willing to put guardrails around that, where accessory structure without a principal use being, you know, a house being on the property may be allowed in certain circumstances. But he wants to put guardrails around it. So that's going to be a separate
Ag and Markets will fight
conversation.
them on that. If push comes to shove, that is unreasonably restrictive. And they need to understand that.
Yep.
Ay, ay, ay.
So that's one of the,
We
that's
just went
actually at the,
backwards again.
that's actually at the top of my list of things. If we can get Jeff Kehoe from Ag and Markets out here, that's at the top of my list of things I want to have a discussion with them about.
Okay.
Yeah, so I would unstrike that. I mean, we don't have to do it right now, but I
Right.
think we're gonna have to.
What a shame.
Yeah.
What a shame. All those conversations we had at how
know.
many ag board meetings, and
I know.
So is he trying to put permit requirements onto that and then add it as a you got to have a you know, a house or a principal structure there?
So
And
not
so
first, but yes to the second.
yeah, but I mean if you're building a house somewhere, and then you lease a piece of property, say adjacent to that house, and you want to put a barn on it, that's not the property you own. Are they gonna say, well, you got to have a building permit for this barn? And then are they gonna say,
Probably.
okay, at a house next door, but you don't own the piece of property, you're just ag leasing it. You know what I'm saying? Then it gets confusing. And that's why I think the state under 25AA stepped in and said, hey, if you're going to build a barn in a field in the middle of nowhere, you don't need a principal use. And I agree. There's not too many middle of nowheres on Grand Island, but there is a few. And this might be something that, like Wendy said, we need to talk to the state
You
and
do.
bring up, that these guys
No,
at Ag and Markets, yeah.
we looked at how many other communities. I talked to other CEOs. I think Grand Island's the only place that does this.
Maybe
And
Amherst.
I got to go back through my files now because
What about Amherst?
I thought we were done with this. And
Yeah.
Well, I think Pete's principal concern is somebody has a 5 acre lot, say somewhere's, kind of out, out by itself, and they want to put up a barn for ag use. The guardrails would be that, sure, you can put up a barn for agricultural use, but if you're not going, if in 2 years, you die and leave it to your family, and there's a 5,000 square foot Parco building out there, and somebody wants to turn it into a collision shop. That's what he
right,
wants.
we already talked with Ron about all of this,
Right.
Chris.
Yep.
We did. We went through all of this, and it was decided that
Have they seen it?
if
Have
they
they
use-
seen? Did we have any guardrails in place to prevent something like that? Because that is his primary concern,
Yeah,
and
I
that's
know.
pretty much the town's concern.
I get that. And
The other
I got to
thing
go back and
is-
look through my notes, but
Yeah.
I know we talked about this, and the fact that if the use changes, if the property's sold and it's no longer in ag use, then that structure cannot be used for anything else except in agricultural use. So either they're going to build a primary structure on the property, or the building's going to sit there until they force them to knock it down.
Right. Well,
that
if he
was
saw
actually-
that, if they see that, those are the guardrails that I believe he's talking about. And if he hasn't seen
We
that,
already got them. Yep.
if he hasn't seen that yet, then it's not going to become an issue, and it's not going to be all for naught, the work that we did. He's just got to be made aware. And I know that through him and through the other building inspector guy,
Ron.
that was their concerns, and maybe they haven't seen that yet.
So Wendy, shoot me over whatever it is that you have, and I will make sure that I get it in front of them. Wendy, you locked up. Okay, all right. So I guess at this point, because we're coming up on the 11 o'clock and not gotten too far today.
Nowhere.
Yeah, I know, right?
I'm going out for Easter egg hunt.
Yeah, maybe she seems to have locked up, so I'll send her an email. But I think what we'll do is
I believe I did.
Oh, there you are.
Oh, God.
Okay. Nope, she's frozen again.
Sounds
Must
like a
be
movie.
cold out there. Must be cold where she is.
Yep.
There you go.
Oh, there, you're back.
Sorry, but my internet had dropped. I mean, all of you froze just as you were speaking.
Well, you were the only one that froze on this end.
Yeah.
Right, because my internet dropped and now it came back.
Okay.
When I got up to come up here to join the meeting up here, I looked at my router when I went by and it was red. And so I reset it before I came upstairs. And when I got up here, it was back on and I was able to get into this meeting. But so anyway,
Okay, so-
quick before I freeze again.
Yeah. If you
So you should be getting the email because I did email you, and it will get to you. There's nothing in my outbox.
Okay.
So there is nothing sitting in my outbox. So this did go to you.
Okay. This one that we were just talking
Yes,
about,
this
R1A.
one that we're looking at right now.
Okay,
Yeah.
perfect. Do you
Which
want
is
to
no longer on your
circulate?
screen because it dropped.
Yeah, that's fine. Did you say we had already done B through D?
Yeah. Yeah, I can bring those up.
Do you wanna, instead of bringing them up, because I think you're having some internet problems today, instead of bringing them up, can you just circulate them out to
I will.
send them to
I'll
me
send
and
everybody all three
There we go.
versions of these.
And then I
Barbie.
guess before the next meeting, like, let's take a look at that. Let's take a look at those and see if there's anything else that we need to update in that, because I know there's a couple things have changed in the last 2 years, so I'm gonna make sure we've changed that on those documents. And then what I'm gonna do, kind of my next steps, is I'm gonna get 407-144 over with that change to section B, and I'm going to get the accessory use file. I'm gonna get both of those over to Pete and ask him to bring those in front of his supervisors committee as soon as possible, because this has been going on for a while now as things kind of worked themselves out. So we'll see where we land on those before the next call. Does anybody else have anything they want to discuss or review?
No,
At this point,
I'm good for now.
I'm sorry, what?
If I can get a copy of that Article 5, I'd like to look through that.
Yep. Yep.
Absorb it a little bit more.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, actually, you know what I'll do? I'll copy everybody when I send this over to Pete. So you everybody sees everything at the same time.
Okay.
I'm
just trying to remember what we talked about, so I just wanted to go through the notes real
quick. Yeah, no problem. Okay, so if there's nothing else, our next meeting is April 18th at 10. So as long as there's no issues with that, we will follow our normal pattern, third Thursday. And I guess if that's it, we can. Oh, zoning definitions was next too, wasn't it? Wendy, I wonder.
Hang on a second.
Did we ever pull those from the E-code? I feel like we did the definitions before.
I don't know.
I feel like we scanned through them, but at this point.
Let me take a look, and when I send I'll send that out just to this group if we've got that document someplace, or I can just pull it down from E-code and send it to everybody. You know what? I think we did it for the resource guide.
Yeah.
So remember adding language to those.
Right. Right. Okay. I'll go through some of my old stuff from the resource guide and see if we didn't already do this.
Right, because you're right. That was next. And I'm looking at. I'm looking at a document. I must have prepared it for Mike Madigan. It's dated September 11th, 2023, and it was a copy of my scope with comments as to where things stood. So we had accomplished the right to farm law update. That was done, thank God. Then for the R1A zoning, I indicated that we had started updates, that it was an ongoing process, and that to date we revised R1B and R1E to address hierarchy issues related to allowing ag uses, which we removed from R1E, and that these revisions have yet to be sent to the town board for comments and review. Under item 3 in my scope, review and prepare revisions to other elements of the zoning code as determined by the ag board. To date, we addressed restrictions on farm buildings on vacant property. Well, maybe. Yeah. Two items that were completed under this scope category included the chicken law and the roadside farm stand, maybe. Prepared revised drafts to 407-145 ag uses, which we were calling agricultural practices. I do have a copy of that, but
Yeah.
we never went anywhere with it.
Right.
So that's something that we need to look at and maybe carry over to Pete. I'll forward that to everybody as well. 407-145. Okay. We prepared revisions to 407-142, which we just talked about today.
Yep.
I'm currently working on revisions to the Ag Animals Regulations 144, which we talked about today.
Yep.
So the next thing was to review and prepare recommended updates to the definitions.
Okay.
We've touched on this scope item, but have not actively picked it up for action. We've noted several suggested terms to be revised in 407-10, which come from the right to farm law and other places and from work we've already completed. Section needs a complete review to address its shortfalls and improve what's included to support other work being done by the Ag Board. And I had indicated that we would work on that in full force in 2024. So that's true. And then I also in my scope was review and prepare recommended revisions to the incentive zoning and cluster development regs as needed. And then also prepare and recommend revisions to the open space enhanced environmental overlay districts as needed. So we have accomplished things. We've taken steps forward. We've taken a couple stumbles backwards, but we have made progress. So
yeah,
So finishing up with, I think the revisions to R1A, and we had talked about this in the past in terms of how we were going to present things to the town board and try to stagger things, and certain things should go first. And I think we're kind of there, and I'm hoping if they accept the changes to the accessory use and they accept the changes to ag animals, that might make it easier to move the changes that we're proposing in R1A through the town board,
right.
and particularly the planning board. So I'm hopeful.
Yeah, me too.
So, okay.
All right, very good. Could I have a motion to close?
I'll make a motion to close.
Have a second?
Second.
Thank you. Okay, we will end the meeting at 10:57. Woo, almost right on time.
Almost.
All right, thank you,
Better luck
everybody.
next time.
Okay. Take care,
Happy
everyone.
Easter.
Take care.
Happy Easter, everyone.
Happy Easter, everyone. Yep.
Take
Bye.
care. Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Yeah.